Audience, be respectful. Nope, wrong way.
We are the equivalent of Athletes Pay. NCAA gets millions of dollars while players don't get a dime. Should college athletes receive additional pay beyond scholarships while doing their respective sport? Schools make millions of dollars, but players don't get a dime. Because they aren't able to get a job, and since they're practicing from 6 to 12 hours a day, they can't get more money. And because they're at a constant risk of injury. Resolved, we believe that NCAA should pay athletes, not colleges. In 1994, CBS paid $1.7 billion to broadcast the March Madness tournament for the next 8 years, the next following 8 years.
We have too many college athletes putting in their best effort and not getting paid for it. NCAA and EA Sports both agreed to pay $60 million to students to put them in video games. EA executive Joey Windsor testified that if there is an efficient way to put a group of college athletes together, he would be interested in acquiring rights to them. Athletes claim NCAA is a cartel preventing them from the fame of profiting. Along with them not getting paid, they don't have time to get a job because of the sports that they are committed to. Along with scholarships from colleges, also some scholarships from colleges don't pay the full price, and they still have to pay for things that they don't include in the scholarship. I believe that colleges should be paid. I believe that athletes should be paid for their sports and commitment. From their work, for their hard work and commitment to their sports.
Athletes aren't able to get jobs because of their respective studies and their sports programs that they're a part of. 3 out of 22 NCAA players will move on to the NBA. For the rest of those athletes, they will have no money from their scholarships because they don't pay for, most scholarships don't pay for their whole tuition. Also, you may think that schools don't get all the money, but they don't. Players aren't able to make anything. Basketball, men's basketball and the football programs revenued upwards to $6 billion from their respective sports. Students who play for the schools make the money for the schools. The school doesn't make it by themselves, so it's like a business. The students are the employers, and they should be getting paid. So for those of you who work, it's like not getting paid for 4 years. Also, the players who play for the schools are at a constant risk of injury, and if the player was to get injured, they have a chance of losing their scholarship, and they could fall behind in their studies and be in the hospital for a long time. Also, players who get injured would be more behind in their classes and not be able to catch up like everyone else. So for the students who get injured in the hospital, look at Kevin Ware. When he broke his leg, he was in the hospital for 48 hours but wasn't able to continue a sports program. And he was suspended from his scholarship, was not able to continue.
So negative opening, please.
More money, more problems. If we pay college athletes, the program themselves will suffer. Students should not receive money for playing college sports. 1, they don't know how to use the money. 2, they wouldn't play for the love of the game, they would just play to earn money. And 3, where would the money come from? We hope to persuade you by the end of our argument. Thank you.
Our first main argument is it would change the motivation to play. Would you play for the love of the game or the money of the game? More pro athletes focused on their paychecks before they actually focused on winning the game. At Northwestern, some people focused on their side job than the the athletic activity that they were in. And most people still know if you get injured, you still get paid. It would be the same as college as it is for professional. And it would just change their motivation to play for the sport. Our second main argument is athletes do not know how to use the money. Would they just save the money, or would they spend it at their will? 78% of NFL players that go into retirement are either bankrupt or in financial trouble after a few years of retirement. My brother plays at a Northwestern college, and he is not trusted with money. Even if my parents give it to him, they still watch it. And even though you might get money, you still have a lack of past experience with money. Your parents might teach you, but still, you still have no experience. And if athletes don't know how to use the money, what do you think they'll use it for?
We don't have the money to spend on athletes. Money comes from tickets and people buying souvenirs, and for that money we have to pay the employees and workers and fixes on the college. It takes away from college focus, because if they're just playing for the money, that's all they're focused about, and not school. It makes them cut staff and classes if they have to spend all their money on athletes and they play for the money.
Wonderful. You guys have 2 minutes to confer as a group to prepare your rebuttals. Make sure you address your opponent's arguments in those rebuttals. All right, that's 2 minutes. So each team will have a minute to deliver their rebuttals. We'll start with affirmative.
My opponents mentioned that if an athlete would to get paid, they would just play for the money. But while an athlete plays for a college, they are not allowed to have any kind of job. That means that they will go throughout college and won't earn any money from either the school or a job. Secondly, they mentioned that players won't know what to do with the money. But because they have practice or a game, they don't have enough time to study or get the right amount of sleep. Because they don't have enough time to study, this could potentially affect the job that they get and the money that they earn. Lastly, my opponents mentioned that they don't know where the money would come from. But in 1994, CBS paid NCAA $1.7 billion to broadcast the March Madness tournament for the following 8 years.
don't make it to the professional sports, we go to college to learn and then get a good job after to get paid good money. But if we go to professional, Derek Jeter went to University of Michigan, and then later he got drafted by the New York Yankees and made $12 million a year, and his total career made $265.2 million.
Closing?
As Drew stated, athletes should receive additional pay beyond their scholarships. To start off, schools make millions off games and the players don't make a dime or don't get a dime. Also, if they don't have enough time for a job or to study because of the full-time practices they do to practice for their games. And as well as that, if they get injured during the game, they most likely will not have enough money to pay the hospital bill. In conclusion, athletes should get additional pay beyond their scholarships because they're unable to support themselves. They also don't have enough time for a job or to study because of the full-time practices. As well as that, if they get injured during the game, they need a recovery fund so they can get the help they need without using all the money they've saved. And that's why we should pay college athletes beyond their scholarships.
Athletes should not get paid because it would change the look on college sports. There's no doubt that paying our college athletes would change athletics for good. Here are a couple reasons. They're not playing for their love of the game anymore. They're just playing for the money. They don't know what to do with the money, so they'd go into financial troubles. And where is the money coming from? For these reasons, athletes should not get paid because it would cost too much money and disrupt the whole education system for good. Because when we go to college, we're meant to get a full education and not a fistful of cash.
Round of applause for this group, please. Gentlemen, if you take your seats.